I'd like to give you a very quick tour on how to read through our three types of tabular reports that you can either view on screen or download. The first is what we call our TRG report, Total Response Group. This is a report of exactly the same format that every one of the 96 schools that participated received on the day they administered the survey. This is the aggregated TRG report for the American schools, 80 schools. There's another one that looks just like this for the 4,481 Canadian students, but this is just fine for an illustrated example. It's just a distribution in an Excel file of how many people answered each question as they did. So grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, grade 12, so on. Tenure with the school, gender, exactly 8,888 male participants in the survey. Do you identify as a member of the LGBTQ2S plus community? 19.4% said yes. Racial cultural distribution, and there's a full set of graphs crossed by this. Time spent on homework, full breakdown here, full set of graphs. Time spent on social media, some fascinating results there. I'm sure you'll be interested in digging in. Comparison of those who reported that they receive outside tutoring and those who do not. And sleep, of course, all important. General satisfaction. Format here, scale from 1 to 5. Very low, very high. Weighted average on the 5-point scale, 3.7. 66.5% scored their overall satisfaction as a 4 or a 5. The agree-disagree format, section C, is a little bit different in structure from the very low, very high, because it's got a neither agree nor disagree. So along with the weighted average score, we generate what we call the plus-minus ratio, which takes the sum of the 4s and the 5s and divides it by the sum of the 1s and the 2s. To interpret that in lay terms, looking at the first measure as an example, those who agreed with the statement, I am enthusiastically involved in out-of-classroom activities, outnumber those who disagree. In other words, that number divided by that number, outnumber by a ratio of 7.3 to 1. And that flows through the series of 15 measures. Next section, how well prepared do you feel you are for each of the following? It's a very poorly to very well prepared scale from 1 to 5. So we're back to the percent 4 and 5 and the weighted average scores all the way through 15 measures. I'm scrolling quickly. Sorry, but you have access to this file. It's only a 3-page file. Have you personally been affected by experiences of discrimination? We've made comparisons here, and we've got a full set of graphs crossed by the type of discrimination that you've been affected by. Where we've taken that next is, for example, bring over to the screen, the cross tabulations file for this measure, which is I feel a strong sense of belonging at the school. Those who scored it as a 4 or a 5 agree or strongly agree, number 10,748. And if we come back to the other file, you'll find that same number opposite the agreed, strongly agree with that question. If we go down to that particular measure in the attitudinal series, which is question C3, you can see that it isolates those who agree or strongly agree. So you can take a subgrouping of those who agree with that statement and see how they answered every other question in the survey. There's another crosstab that enables you to look at those who disagree with that statement. In fact, if I go back to the contents page for this series, you'll see that there are over 100 such 3-page reports to which you can click on a link and see that particular report. Next step is the comparative cross tabulations, which are collapsing related measures. That question C3, which again is, I feel a strong sense of belonging at the school. We've taken the agrees and strongly agrees and put them in one column. The disagrees and strongly disagrees and strongly disagrees and put them in another column, and pulled a ratio of one to the other, which comes in very handy when you are comparing rating type questions. For example, those who feel a strong sense of belonging, look at the differences in overall satisfaction. 2.7 rounded 67% of 4.1. Other attitudinal measures, and they vary. So you can see which ones are the most important in distinguishing. I feel that I gain meaningful positive value from being a member of the school community, and so on. There you have it. There's lots of data in here for those of you who feel like digging into some of the reference data. That's all it is reference data, because this is what I've used to develop the Word document, or the PDF as you'll see it, as the interpretive analysis. Rather than 500 pages, you're looking at 75, 80 pages that summarizes this and tells you which elements are most important, what the highlights are, and what my recommendations are. That's it for the quick tour. Thanks very much.